Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Worth It Then, Worth It Now. This side project that I run over here on my second channel. Ultimately, it affords me an opportunity to shout out games that I think deserve another look. It's not exactly in vogue or contemporary, but I tend to line them up with a sale where possible. The game that we're looking at today is called The Surge. It came out back in 2017, so oh my god, it's 8 years ago. It's getting on 10 years, that's crazy. But my goodness, does it still hold up, and it's still one of my favorites. And you know, the danger of this channel, I already have a plate of games stacked that high, but then I go in and install these old bangers and I just want to play them, and that's how I feel about this. It's really punchy, controls well. This time around I'm using mouse and keyboard, and I'll be honest, it's refreshing having a game that sort of predates, or at least I suppose compared to my current hardware, which probably just monsters it. Essentially, it's nice playing something that just does not stutter no matter what. So this is a bit of a must play in my opinion. I think it's really good. It is a Souls-like. It was one of the first of that wave of let's copycat, draw inspiration from, whatever you want to call it. Though The Surge is very unique in it's a sci-fi setting, right? And they've come up with a pretty cleverly contrived plot framing that it's all in these sort of body exosuit combats, and it's all very much melee empowerment, so it still stays in that sword and board heavy environment. You know, as soon as you go sci-fi, you start asking questions like, why aren't we using laser guns? This game just doesn't really ask the questions, it just makes melee so fucking cool that you don't ask that question. As far as pedigree, it is developed by Deck 13 and published by Focus Entertainment, I guess they're called these days, and they've gone from strength to strength. It's been fun watching them grow alongside my channel over the last decade or so. So when this first came out, they were probably just Focus Home, and Deck 13, I'm pretty sure this was their first go. It's hard to retroactively dig all this info up and get to the bottom of it, but as I recall, this was their first project that they kicked off on. Now, you jump forward to today, Deck 13 has actually become a sort of subsection of Focus. It's hard to tell because Focus itself has folded into Embracer, so they're like 5 degrees removed, and they're in there with, you know, Deep Silver and all that sort of stuff now. But Deck 13 now is kind of like Focus Entertainment's indie arm, and you see this with some high-profile companies these days. Funnily enough, the AAA space does stuff like that as well. They have little side sub-publishers that handle their indie experiments. So Deck 13, for all intents and purposes now, is a publishing brand under Focus for, you know, smaller projects. And things that come to mind are like Drover, Chained Echoes. These are pretty good high-profile indie games that were published by Deck 13. However, having said that, just having a quick look, I think Atlas Fallen, whatever it was, I barely touched that, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that was first party developed by Deck 13, so they're still doing stuff, but this is where it began. Anyway, you might not find that interesting. I find that sort of history stuff very interesting. And then they went on to do The Surge 2, which builds upon this, which I should spend more time with, and that was a great game from what I recall, but this to me is the one that really holds a soft spot in my heart. It's channeling a sort of tech bro futurism. It kind of predates the Elon Musk fetishization of all the narratives now. Every second one of them is something to do with Elon Musk. So you've kind of got this young peppy tech dude who's the face of CREO, who are in turn the sort of sci-fi exosuit people in this. And there's a very, very clever subversion right at the beginning. You start on a monorail seated as you watch the little advertisements and that, giving you a bit of an update on state of the world and rah, rah, rah. And that's where you meet your main character, Warren, who's put his hand up to go into this exosuit program, right? And they let you pick whether you want to be more heavy or more light-based at the intro lead-in. The cutscenes still look really good, man. They hold up very well. Makes you flinch because the shoe has to drop, right? And it would seem that something's going wrong with the CREO factory. Something's gone haywire in the computer, rah, rah, rah. And you experience that firsthand where poor old Warren is put in the machine to get his operation, and it's like, patient sedated. And you can see at his face like, no, I'm not. So it has a very graphic drilling bits and pieces into his arms and shoulders and all that while he's wide awake and unsedated. it's unnecessary, but it's kind of awesome. And from there, you're thrown in the scrap heap and you got to figure out what's going on and work your way back into the main facility. Anyway, I just ducked back in and started a new game for B-roll, and it's smooth and punchy and clean. The key gimmick at the core of it is executing like decapitations, essentially. You wail on an enemy until they've got like 1/10 of their health left, and it will give you a prompt to sort of decapitate. Before then, within the targeting reticle, you can, well, like I said, I'd use mouse and keyboard this time around and use mouse wheel to cycle through, head, body, arms, legs, that sort of thing. And if you're using thumbsticks, you just direction it with the right thumbstick. It all works incredibly intuitively, and you're incentivized to kind of pick your parts, target bits and pieces, because you in turn equip parts to your rig. So the super soldier sort of rig robo under exoskeleton that they equip to you at the beginning is more of a mounting bracket. In a way, you have to equip a weapon, and in turn you can equip, arms, legs, same sort of thing, right? And you kind of want to outfit yourself fully and get set bonuses, that sort of stuff. So straight off the bat, you've got a little bit of a mini game of mixing and matching and crafting all the bits and pieces, getting blueprints. So the first thing that you're going to start doing is targeting enemies' arms and legs that have particular armor bits. And again, the game gives you feedback, like blue means unarmored and yellow means armored, and so they come with the pros and cons of strategically unpacking the engagement. That guy's got a headpiece that you don't have. You're going to aim for it. It's armored, so he's going to take more of a beating, as opposed to if it was just his big naked head, but you won't necessarily get that drop that you want. Then you decapitate the body part, and then from there you'll get the blueprint to craft whatever it is that he was wearing. And then you're going to need parts on top of souls to craft all of these bits and bobs, and so, you might do a run farming legs. Something, it sounds so weird to say, but that's how it plays out. And so you get the parts from them, and then you go back to the kind of bonfire equivalent, which, by the way, has this really groovy, well, groovy's not the best descriptor, but it's got this fantastic earworm of a country song of all things, and it plays like in a bossa elevator music type background while you're at your bonfire chipping away and crafting stuff. And you will never be able to shake this country song from your mind when associating with this game, and it brought a sneaking grin back to my face when I heard it playing off again. My goodness, it's wonderful. But yeah, so you craft bits and pieces, you mix and match, you upgrade your sort of core character level, soul level, whatever you want to call it, and that actually also helps give you like slots that you can fit abilities, and this could be as simple as seeing enemies' health bars, increasing your health, like passive stuff, to these like injectable health potions, Estus equivalents, but they also take up valuable slots that your armor pieces will take up. And so you have to think about, okay, am I going to wear like a heavy armor set, because that's going to use a lot of my core allocation? Maybe I won't really be able to use many castables, or maybe I go more agile and lighter, and that gives me more, spells, for lack of a better term. Anyway, it's really clever. It works very well for the setting. I think it's one of the standouts in that Souls-like spin-off place. Couple that with the environments I find to be very cleverly designed for back and forth. There's a soft Metroidvania to a good Souls game, unlocking shortcuts and that, this sense of achievement that goes beyond the stat line and nestles more in the mastery of the environment and learning the map as you go. Anyway, I've got nothing but praise to say, and look, I should have front-loaded, but this is on sale, as most of the games that when I record these are, and at the current moment it's going for like $2 or $3 Australian. So it's a steal. It costs nothing. You should pick it up and give it a go, and I'm pretty sure you would at least appreciate the uniqueness of this world and the world building and that sort of after the fall investigative setting. The things like at a BioShock, you weren't there when things went wrong, but when you wake up, everything's blown up. It creates intrigue, and it's done particularly well here as you move your way through the CREO facilities, exploring away, if memory serves. Oh god, it's good reinstalling it. I guess I'm gonna have to play some more. Anyway, The Surge, you should check it out. You should check out the rest of Focus's catalog if you've made it this far. I believe they're having like a week-long sale for all sorts of stuff. So maybe I'll just punch out a bunch of Focus published games this week. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, team, might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.